Ka pai, Sons of Zion, me tere ka o ngā waiata, te whakamauritanga o tā rātou waiata drift away. Pō tere ana te ngā Māori o tere ka o ngā waiata. Ana ko te Māori tā noho ki te kaupapa i tēnei wā, ko hono tahi ai. Tēnei o ngā kāwai hekenga o Tamainupō ki te kōrero tahi ai ki a tātou. E pāna ki te kaupapa e tiaki ai. Ia puke ia hua ko Kimai Huirama tana ingoa e te māreikura te nā koe. Nau mai hoki mai ki te whare o Tainui Live.
Mōrena pātara.
Kei whera koe. Tai hoa e hoa. Hey, tai hoa. See what's going on here. Just got a little bit of a technical issue here, whānau, but I'll get it back. Tai hoa rā. Boom. Ke reira koe, Kimai?
Ai.
Ka pai. Yeah, well, there we go. Kimai Huirama's in the whare. Ngā mihi kia koe, sister. Kei te pēwhea.
Pai rawa atu, me koe.
Yeah, tau āhua nō rā, as I said earlier on, my legs are feeling it from training with the brothers last night. I forget I'm post 40 now, so you know, spinning around thinking I'm a young buck until my hammies started telling me otherwise. He oi, ke te pēwhia te whānau, ia te mate ko whiori horapa nei te motu. How's everybody at home? Everybody safe? Keeping safe with the Omicron around the corner as well?
Yeah, we're remaining flexible because that's what you need in this kind of environment. But yeah, no, everybody is kei te pai.
Ka pai. And talking about flexibility, that's exactly what you fellas have to endure over the last couple of years as well, especially with the occupation of puke i ahua. Tell us all about that and how it started and what the kaupapa is.
So Protect Puke Ahua started 650 days ago. For those of you who haven't heard the kōrero, essentially it started with an RMA process. Where we were engaging with the developer around a piece of whenua in Ngārua Wāhia, and which holds huge significance for Ngaati Tamainupō. Puke Ahua Pā is one of our pā tawhito, and the gardens, the heritage gardens, 300 years old, are very significant to the hapu. And so our conversations 2 years ago with the developers is that these rua, these borrow pits, are significant because of our hapu narrative. What can we do to protect them? And essentially, we were told, bottom line is, actually, we need all that land for high-cost homes, high-cost housing, and we can't protect anything. And so when whānau saw excavators moving in on May the 6th, 2020, during lockdown, we were activated to say, look, we've followed this RMA process. It hasn't served us well in this instance. And noho whenua became the option, opening up to marae, up to the marae, the hapu, our whānau. And so we've been there for the last almost 2 years. We've also looked at other avenues. We've had some wins. Last year, the council overturned the resource consent for the developer, because they had not followed their RMA processes. They had not done their due diligence in that process. And so we had to go to a hearing to be heard. And thankfully, the commissioner said that, no, the resource consent is cancelled. However, next week, we're in environmental court because the developers are appealing that decision. And once again, we have to take our cultural narrative of the whenua to the environmental court judge and really tell our story around why this whenua is significant to the hapu.
Ka pai. Now, for those of the whānau who are listening in right now who don't know the historical narratives when it comes to Ngaire and Hiki te rangi, tēnā whakamārama mai.
So if we go back 300 or so years, there was a huge celebration feast held between Waikato, Ngaati Tamainupō, and Ngāti Maniapoto, celebrating an alliance between these two iwi and the birth of a mokopuna. Now, there's a whole tale behind, that love story where Heke Te Rangi fell in love with the wrong brother, the younger brother, Ngaire, but love prevailed, and against their parents' wishes, they moved together back to Puke Ahua Pā here. And when a mokopuna was born, it was time to make peace, because back in those days, your allies were so important. In times of pakanga and times of famine, you sought refuge from your allies. So a huge feast was held in Ngārua Wāhia, and to honour Maniapoto on that day. The child was named Te Mana o Te Rangi, which is the greatness of the day. And Ngaire called out, Wāhia Ngārua, open up the food pits. The feasting would have went not for 2 hours, not for 20 minutes like it is today, but for days. And mounds of food had been collected, had been dried, had been fermented, had been stored in preparation for this great feast that would have gone on for quite a while. And so those mounds of preserved or uncooked kai, hakarimata, according to our narrative, is how hakarimata was named. And of course, 300 years later, everybody who lives in Ngāti Wāhia carries the postcode, carries in their postcode our hapu narrative through the town's name, Ngāti Wāhia.
Ka pai, and of course those are the food pits that you're looking to protect as well. Ngā rua kei tērā whenua I ai tonu nei. So you talked about allies. How do we become an ally of this fight to protect this taonga?
Yeah, it's look, we have a Protect Pukeahua page, Facebook page. That's where you'll get all of the alerts based on what's happening. For instance, the whānau has also been working for the last 2 years before this all blew up on an environmental plan for Tamainupō. We had seen that developers, councils, Crown agents, they just weren't understanding what Māori need, what iwi and hapu need. So our new plan, which is launched today, Te Mata Herenga, which is our Taonga and Mātauranga management plan, is exactly that. It's giving directions to the Crown agents and developers of what we need to see when they work within our pou whenua. We can't allow them to guess, because they're getting it wrong far too often, and Pukeahua is one of those cases. So just call in at the whenua if you want to learn more. There's someone there on site all the time. Check out our Facebook page. That's how you can keep connected. And really, it's just about us, letting everyone know what's happening. We're still there, whānau, 650 days on. We're still there and fighting on behalf of all mana whenua, really, around how we need to preserve our sites of significance.
Ka pai. Now, obviously we all support and hope for success in your bid to overturn this plea from the developers and all of that to develop on that land. What are some of the future aspirations for this? So you succeed and then you protect the whenua. What's some of the future aspirations that you got for the whenua?
We'd like to see hapu lands back into hapu hands. And I think, all our iwi hapu Māori around Aotearoa, when we used to be 100% landowners and we're only 4% landowners now, and that's been a process of colonisation. Ultimately, we want our whenua back in our hands where we can continue to have a relationship with our whenua, continue those hapu practices that our tupuna did back hundreds of years ago, but of course using technology these days. We've also talked to the community through a community survey, and the narrative of manaakitanga, of nurturing and nourishing a community that flows through the Wāhia Ngārua story is something that we want to bring back to that whenua. At the moment, the plans are for 30 houses, which, let's be honest, they're $1 million houses, pātara. I don't know many of our whānau who live in the previous 5 stages of that subdivision. So rather than just have the whenua benefit 30 households, usually they're moving into our town, why not just have a community space of learning, honour the pātawhito here of Pukeahua, but of course it's about marakai, it's about community coming together, learning together, valuing our cultural narratives, and that is all part of the vision that the whānau has been working on for the last almost couple of years.
Awesome. Now, of course, you can see the Pātu Wata Wata across the road there up on the hill where the marae stood. Is there any plans on what that whenua will be used for?
It's going to be part of the same plan, really. It's all pukeahua pā. You know, what's been protected is literally the tip of the iceberg, as if our principal pā and all our whānau lived on the top of the puke. You know, the reality is it would have been a sprawling settlement. We've got to put our 1700s sort of lens on it. There was no railway track. There was no main road going and cutting off our pā. The main road was Waikato awa and Waipa awa. And so for us, it's just holding on to that last little remnant, which would have been Papakainga, Marakai, Marae Atia, which we believe has been saved and protected. So the plan will be comprehensive. And I love what our kaumātua said. When you look at it through, you know, the 1700s glasses, it's connecting the awa to the whenua, to the skies, to the rangi. You know, our people would have taken advantage of stargazing from that spot on top. And so it's for us trying to connect those pieces that have been sliced off since settlers arrived to Aotearoa. So it's all part of the same plan.
Excellent. Ka tukuna te rākau kia koe e te māreikurei he kōrero whakamutunga.
Just to have a big shout out to all of our whānau and noho whenua around Aotearoa. And since we got into this kaupapa, we've been connecting with other iwi, with other hapu going through the same things. And we just stand in solidarity with all our noho whenua, all our kaupapa Māori, kaupapa iwi, kaupapa hapu, trying to protect whenua, trying to protect moana, water, all around Aotearoa. Ngā mihi nui kia koutou katoa.
Ka pai, kei ngā kāwai hekenga o Ngairera o ko heke te rangi o Tamainupō. Ka mutu ngā hapu maha me te hapori o ngā rua wāhia tēnei te mihi nui kia koutou katoa e te tuahine tēnā koe.
Kia ora.
I think it's Kimai, Huirama, and don't forget you can check out their Facebook page as well for updates and how you can support, of course, the kaupapa right there. Ngā mihi kia koe Kimai, and we're going back into the music right now. New rules with Dua Lipa. It's time to be live at the Māori.